Hey, and welcome back to the Director's Diary series. My name is Grace, and today I'm going to be reflecting on something that happened to me a few weeks ago. Firstly though, I'm sorry for not updating in a while. I had to go to Sydney for an internship. That's what I'm going to be talking about today. And then on top of that, my laptop died, and I had to wait to get a new Mac, an actual iMac, which is really, really cool to use. So that's why it's been a bit of a while for me to be able to start making these videos again. But back to the internship. So a couple of weeks ago, I went down to Sydney for a week and interned at a video media production company that mainly does advertisements, but also does the occasional music video and that sort of thing. And it was a really amazing experience. Probably the best part of it was there was 2 days where I was actually on set, running around getting coffees and doing all that, but being able to see what a real life director does to direct an advertisement, and what a cinematographer does, and all the really big and scary equipment that they also have. And from this experience, I've learned a few things. Firstly, I found out that even if you are some big blockbuster Hollywood director making the best movies out there, there really isn't a lot of income in that. And that the best way that you get income is by making advertisements, so that even the biggest directors still actually go out there and make a few advertisements a year just to kind of sustain their income. And so that was the first thing I learned, which really puts a whole new perspective on what and how advertisements can change what I end up doing in the film industry. The second thing that I learned was that being a director is something that both comes naturally and you have to work at, which I've been thinking a lot about lately, because I've been wondering lately if being a director is something that either you have or you don't have, and whether or not I can improve my skills as a director, and whether or not I actually have a good enough skill set so far to be a good director. And being able to actually see what a director does and compare that director to myself was really, really helpful, because I saw that the skill of directing actors just by itself is quite natural and quite easy, and is something that I think I already have and am able to do quite well. But the ability to see the entire artistic vision of a project and pull that into every single shot and plan it out that way in your head, that is something that I don't think comes naturally to me or generally to people, and it's something that a lot of people have to work at to be a good director. The third thing that I learned is that Sydney is really the place to be. Well, for me, Sydney is the place to be because I live in Australia. It might be different depending on what country you live in. But currently I live in Brisbane, and there really isn't much of anything to do with the film industry here. There's the occasional thing on the Gold Coast, which is an hour away, but in Brisbane itself there's nothing. So with that decision, I've decided that I'm moving down to Sydney to give it a shot of actually seeing what I can learn when I'm being in the industry, instead of just being up here and working on making short films with my friends and my family and in my own house. I want to see what big productions actually look like and what I can learn from big productions, which I'm really excited about. The fourth thing that I learned is that being kind gets you so far. So when I was down there, I was asking a lot of people questions about why they were doing this, why they were doing that, because I was trying to understand the intricacies of each individual part of the production. For example, talking to the lighting guy about why they were adding fog in the shot when you couldn't see the fog, or asking the cameraman what all the different external parts of the camera do and why they had 3 people operating one camera but none of them touching the camera, which I thought was really interesting. And because I approached them with kindness and I was just genuinely trying to understand something, a lot of them went over and beyond explaining things to me and really let me into that kind of side of things. And because of that, I was able to get past the part where the interns all just sat around and watched the TV from 50 meters away, to actually being on set and watching what's happening. And sometimes they'd even let me do things like hold one of the camera parts and play with that camera part and see what it's like operating the external autofocus, or showing me how to use a fog machine, or talking to me about why you put up black screens on either side of things. And that really just expanded my view of that really just expanded what I learned so much more than I could have even expected. Anyway, that's everything for today. I'll hopefully get back into the swing of doing some more of these, but I hope you have a good rest of your day.